Hey dear, Zumzi here, and it is officially October, my favorite month, and it's spooky season. We have haunted houses, and all the leaves are beautiful and changing. So if you're looking for something to help you get into the mood for fall, or keep you in the mood if you're already celebrating like I am, don't worry, I've got 4 reviews for books I read recently that'll help give you those spooky autumnal vibes. And first, I have The Season of the Witch. I have to go with something witchy, and that is Slewfoot by Brom. The artist Brom, I know him mainly as an artist, but he writes novels, horror novels as well. Slewfoot centers around an English woman named Abatha who comes from a long line of cunning women like herbalists. Basically, they're witches. However, her drunk dad gambles her off and sells her to a Puritan colony in America. But her new Puritan husband, he's pretty nice. She just kind of has to keep all her trinkets and medicinal stuff on the down low. However, her husband is in debt because the land where his farm is technically belongs to his brother. So they're saddled with debt. However, her husband mysteriously dies, and poor Abatha is left in this foreign country, left to manage this farm by herself, and she doesn't know what to do. However, there's this amnesiac goat creature who doesn't know who he is. Like the Puritans who unfortunately see him that he kills, they call him the devil and they call him a killer. He doesn't know if he's a nature spirit, if he's a good goat creature. He doesn't know. However, he's drawn to Abatha because she's a cunning woman, and together they kind of come up with the deal that if she helps him discover his purpose, then he'll help out with her farm, and together they create magic and help her farm flourish. However, this doesn't go without notice. The villagers are what's going on? This is witchcraft! So then witchcraft hysteria starts to brew, and both Abatha and her goat friend named Samson are in danger. Yeah, I know there is some very gruesome and disturbing scenes in this book, and the end gets especially bloody and dark. However, the middle with Samson the goat and Abatha working together, it's kind of wholesome. It's like Harvest Moon with a demonic goat creature friend. Basically, their relationship and them helping each other, and both of them are going through existential crises, finding their identities and kind of embracing their true selves. That I thought was really neat in this story. So if you're looking for a historical horror book that's kind of bizarre and strange with a little bit of heart in it, then this book is for you. Okay, next I have a comic, but it fits the theme perfectly because it is called The Autumnal, and it's written by Daniel Kraus, who co-wrote The Shape of Water along with Guillermo del Toro. But this story centers around a single mother named Kat who is estranged from her own mother. However, following her mother's death, she returns to her childhood hometown of Comfort Notch. And this town is home of the most perfect autumn. It's a small town and it's quaint and idyllic. However, beneath its seemingly peaceful exterior, this town holds a dark past. And as the characters start to broach the autumnal equinox, things start to change, and Kat has to figure out the mystery of the town before it's too late. Now, I guess based off of other reviews, some people hated the main character. I liked her. She was messy and flawed, and she was coping with her own childhood trauma with alcohol and other things. Some people thought she was a scumbag. I liked her. She was protective of her daughter, and I felt that was a compelling start of the story. However, My favorite part of this was the artwork. It was beautiful and grotesque and atmospheric, and it contained body horror, and I call it eco-horror, like plant-based body horror. In fact, I wish there was more of that because the cover illustrations are so fantastic. I wish we could have seen kind of that explicit body horror with more leaves and branches coming out of people. I crave blood. I wanted that more in this book, and I do feel like this is a pretty short comic series. I wish the ending, which was so fantastic, I wish it had dragged out a little bit more, because we have kind of a slow burn buildup, and then like the end it gets into almost folk horror territory, and I wish we had a little bit more of that. It's like what folk horror and body horror was in this comic, I wanted more. Like the more. I mean, that's how I felt about this comic, but it is the perfect autumnal comic if you're in the mood for one. Okay, next I have a supernatural mystery called The Liar of Red Valley by Walter Goodwater, and this story centers around Sadie, whose mother is the liar of Red Valley, and it's the liar's job to tell lies, meaning that they can change something magically at the cost of shaving years off of the requester's life. So it's a trade-off. However, when Sadie's mom dies, the powers and the role shift onto her, and suddenly supernatural enemies and the sheriff and humans are all coming after her and trying to find her mother's book of secrets, where she's written down what lies she's told on behalf of other people. So Sadie's trying to figure out what big lie her mom's told before it's too late. And I think my favorite aspect of this book was how creative the world building was. So basically, there's this overseen entity called the King who protects the town from dangerous forces, and he even created the liar. And then there's the laughing boys, who are like these demonic possessed druggies. So there's a bunch of cool aspects, including like the concept of the liar itself. So like the liar can make you taller or change your hair color, and the more they have to alter, the more years off your life they have to take. So there's some really cool concepts in this book, and it also is very action-packed. This is a page turner. However, I feel like the one drawback, even though this kept my attention, I felt like there wasn't really much suspense or tension, because it was like bam, 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 another enemy, another enemy. It wasn't boring, but like I feel like some of the spooky factor was taken away a little bit because of all the action. Like you can't take a breath or like build up anxiety or whatever, because it's just being thrown at you. If you're looking for a fun, creative, supernatural book that's easy to read, I recommend this one though. Okay, last but not least, I have a story about apples, because when I think of fall, I think of like apple cider and apples and cinnamon and harvest. So I have Comfort Me with Apples by Catherine M. Valente, and I jumped the gun on this a little bit because I believe it doesn't come out until the end of this month, or it might have even been pushed back to November, but I just couldn't wait to read it any longer, so I had to read my arc, and I just really want to talk about it because Catherine Valente is one of my favorite authors. Like I want to eat. This might sound weird. Her writing is so wonderful. I just want to drink it or eat it, or it's delicious, like an apple. So the story centers around Sophia, who lives in the gated, closed community of Arcadia Gardens, where she lives with her perfect husband and has a perfect life. However, her husband works such long hours away from home, and he tells her to never venture down into the cellar. However, curiosity starts to gnaw away at her, and as she tries to uncover her husband's secrets, her world starts to unravel. I think I could best describe this novella as a psychological domestic thriller told as this dark, eerie fairy tale. Like, you could tell, even though everyone's so cheery and everything seems perfect, that something's off here, and there's little clues that were fed along the way. I think, for me at least, I was able to guess some of the secrets from the title alone. However, I don't mind a predictable book because I love being able to solve the mystery. That's half of the fun for me. So I enjoy some good foreshadowing where you're like, ah, of course, at the end. And I know sometimes novellas seem like they're half-baked or like they don't sufficiently tell a story, but for me, the ending was so satisfying, and this book just kept my attention the entire time. And of course, I know I'm a little biased because I love anything Valente writes, but I hope you love it as much as I did if you're into kind of odd, offbeat. Like, this was really unique for a thriller. Like, I haven't read anything like it. It's a little bit like Stepford Wives, but with, oh, I can't say. With something, a twist on a domestic thriller. That's all I'll say. All right, those are all the autumnal fall feeling books that I've read recently. If you've read any of the titles that I mentioned, let me know what you thought about them down below in the comments. And also, if you have any recommendations for spooky, scary, like fall feeling books, let me know down in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side. See ya!